Welcome back to Senior Savvy Cannabis. I'm Katherine Goldberg. Today, we're joined by Chris Emerson, who is the CEO and Chief Science Officer of Level ProTabs. In case you guys don't know what Level ProTabs are, they are my favorite product. They're these little consistent tabs that you take with water, and they have different effects. So, Chris, you're the genius behind this. Welcome to Senior Savvy Cannabis.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Catherine. I appreciate it.
This is very different than a gummy. This is very different than a syringe of RSO. Why did you create this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Give you a quick background, just so you can get some insight into it. I always had a fascination between the intersection, of chemistry and biology. Led me to get a PhD in small molecule chemistry. So most individuals who go that track either end up doing drug discovery, drug manufacturing, or they go into academics and they train the next generation of chemists. Neither of those were paths I wanted to take. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but never understood how I would reconcile a hard physical science with kind of a startup environment. I was doing a postdoc at Stanford. I was kind of fed up with bench science, ended up quitting my postdoc, and found myself to a medical cannabis farm in early 2012 in Northern California. And it was that experience, 3 months living on a cannabis farm in the redwoods, that kind of synthesized for me, these two different things, hard science background like I had, and then this really fast indoctrination into cannabis and a lot of the potential that it held that we really didn't understand at the time. And so I think I looked at it through a different lens. Um, Based on my background and then that experience. And what I realized was, look, there's a host of cannabinoids plus other molecules, but really cannabinoids this plant is producing. We haven't really even started to look at them. How can we combine them in different ways to drive effects or targeted experiences from cannabis use? And so that's where I started developing this thesis around effects-driven cannabis through formulation of what I call emergent cannabinoids from the plant that that are not accessible from the plant alone, right? And so that was early 2012, and the industry was in a very different place at this point. And so fast forward a few years, and the legalization in California looks like it's going to start happening. There's no products on the market that I wanted to take. And I used my background thinking of, how do you make something that's very consistent, should be easy to manufacture. You get good adherence and compliance from a patient at that time taking it, and that it's a trusted form factor. And tablets was the thing that, I really started thinking about and how we're going to develop it. There's a reason why tablets are 60% of almost all pharmaceutical preparations and interventions, that's how they're given to patients, right? For all the reasons that I just discussed. And so that's a long-winded way of me saying it was really looking at the industry, looking at where it was lacking, what we were trying to do with this effect space, and finding a fit for it. And it all kind of coalesced into making tablets.
I love it. One of the most common questions I get is, I want to get the benefits of cannabis, but I'm not going to smoke.
Mhm.
These people saying, I've never smoked in my life, I'm not starting now. And then they hear these horror stories from, people who have eaten too many gummies,
Mhm.
and they want something that's recognizable, that they're familiar with. So I think that's you guys, because I've been taking your tablets for like nearly a decade. You've been around for a very long time.
Yes, yeah, we've been around. This is actually the our 10th year as a company. We started in vapes and did vapes for a couple years in the California market, just trying to figure it out. But we launched tablets in 2017
Do
in
you have
California.
a most is there I know that you guys have a humongous spectrum of products. Is there one that's way more popular than the rest?
It's changed over time, but yes, sativa and indica, so kind of the canonical effects that people know cannabis for. And when I talk about sativa and indica, I'm not talking about the
I
the
get it.
phenotype of the
I
plants.
get it.
Yeah, like
I get it.
uplifting versus couch lock, right?
Of course. We
Yeah,
discuss this on nearly every episode. So
great.
I
Great.
appreciate it.
So when we think about the canonical effects of sativa to indica, those two were our most popular for a very long time in the ProTab. But over the past maybe over the past year, Boost and Lights Out, which are really, I think, the cornerstone of the thesis of the company, right? There, it's one of them is a high THCV product, Boost, which is really it was designed and formulated for energy focus, not necessarily to get you high because you're missing, I think, a lot of the benefit of different cannabinoids when you just reach this point and you're high.
Mm.
So it was really formulating in a way to really try and bring out the effects of THCV. And then Lights Out, which is our sleep formulation, which will be a high CBN product as well. Those two are now some of our best sellers.
I hear, and I don't think this is accurate. I think people have given a little bit too much weight to the entourage effect. And while the entourage effect with an entire plant, with its terpenes, with its flavonoids, with all of it is fabulous, I don't think that cannabinoids by themselves are not effective. Is that what is there literature that talks about the efficacy of using individual cabin like individual cannabinoids broken down from the plant?
I want to make sure I understand your
Yeah.
question. Are you saying that they're say like using a CBD isolate doesn't have efficacy or isn't beneficial for individuals versus say full spectrum, wide spectrum?
I hear that's a myth that I hear a lot, or just
Okay,
language I hear a lot. Can you just speak to that? I don't necessarily believe it. I'm just curious.
understood. Yeah, no, there's still a lot of research and data that we need to collect on it,
Of
and there
course.
are definitely different um, camps on how they think about whether you actually need a myriad of different components and cannabinoids for it to work or not. I will tell you from our experience, and we have a lot of empirical data on it. People have very good effects from isolated cannabinoids, and
Hmm.
we deal a lot with them in CBD and CBG. There's a lot of people out there who, for whatever reason, maybe they're through their employment, they're worried about drug testing, or they just do not want to have any experience of psychoactivity from being high from THC, and they seek out isolates, and they report very, very good results from that. So we have a lot of empirical data that says yes, isolates can be very effective. And then on the other side of it, we have a lot of formulations where, we have polypharmacy, multi-drug components working in concert for synergistic effects or the entourage effect. We have a lot of products that are designed that way, and we get a lot of feedback from individuals that yes, these are having a very strong impact. So I don't know that there's anything equivocal has been or unequivocally has shown out there in any research that isolates are inferior to it.
Hmm.
A big part of it too is, what is an individual's ECS? Everyone reacts different to it, right? And so I think a lot of this plays into it.
So, just a question on the drug testing, because we've had firefighters write in, people that want the benefits of cannabis, but absolutely cannot have any THC in their system in the slightest. Um, would that be like your hemp line? Is that hemp therapeutics, or is that could they potentially, if they took the lights out isolate, which is CBN, then could they pass a drug test?
This is I can't give any advice as to
Of
how testing actually happens. I'm
of
not an
course.
expert in
Uh,
how the testing is happening. Typically, testing is looking for THC, and then when they do analysis, typically on what's called an HPLC, a liquid chromatography machine, the peaks will come out at different times.
okay.
So, but it gets really tricky, right? Because you don't know if something might flag it or not. I think we stay away and we just tell individuals if they have any concern about it, they probably want to stay away from it because it's
Yeah.
not worth the risk.
Yeah.
But the molecules are different, and when you analyze them, for the most part, you can tell the difference between them. So,
Cool.
but some of them do come close. So to your point, like Delta 8 THC and Delta 9 THC, they show up really, really close to each other, right? And so it's hard to differentiate that. But something such as a CBD is much uh, typically is much further away in the spectrum. So that would, change the analysis of it. But again, not an expert on it.
Of
We
course.
do an internal analysis a lot, but not entirely sure how they go about like the drug testing analysis.
Of course. Okay. I appreciate your honest answer. And yeah, everyone, it's up to you. Do your own research, stay safe, just, it's up to you. Um,
Yes.
I want to talk about two minor cannabinoids. I want to talk about CBG and I want to talk about this CBDA product because everyone takes CBD.
Mhm.
We've done that. And for people who are in pain, I'm like, can we just get you some THC? The CBD alone, I like it. It helps maybe some people, but it really doesn't help the majority of them. I was reading about pairing CBD with CBDA, and then they become like much more effective together. Can you speak to that at all? Those are two separate questions, but those are the cannabinoid questions I have for you.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think, we're finally at a place where, THC and CBD, those are the only cannabinoids most people had even heard of. And for a long time, people really didn't realize there was even a difference between those. Um, and now we have the ability through, a lot of the hemp production that's happened in the US since 2018 to have these other cannabinoids that are non-psychoactive, um, but have a lot of potential therapeutic benefit. So CBD, so and I'm not sure if you've touched this with your audience on any of your podcasts, but when the plant actually produces a cannabinoid, it produces it in what's called the acidic form.
Mm,
So THC is actually produced as THCA,
mm,
and then CBD is produced as CBDA. If you isolate it from the plant in that form, you come up with CBDA as we have in those tablets. Typically, what happens though during processing is it goes through a decarboxylation event and you drive off CO2 and you're left with either CBD or THC. The that's much easy. It's a much easier downstream product to get to because the acidics are, you have to treat them gently. You have to process them correctly to maintain their integrity. That's why a lot of people don't deal with them. But we find that the acidics have demonstrate a lot of potential therapeutic benefit.
mm.
And I always look at CBDA as like supercharged CBD. I can't explain it better because there's not a lot of research that's been done on it. But empirically, from all the work we've done and customers and patients, we see a lot of, we see strong benefit from CBDA where CBD may not necessarily work for them.
Mm.
Plus, when you're dealing with CBDA versus CBD, CBD has been processed to a point where it's 99% pure. So even trace cannabinoids are not in there, or other maybe lipids, flavonoids, other components that might have come out during extraction. But our CBDA maintains a minor profile of those. So you're getting trace amounts of other components in the plant that may add to that benefit. Um,
Fascinating. What is just internally or just from what you've heard from customers, are there like nerve pain is a difficult one. Um, are there any are there cannabinoids that you recommend or products formulations that you've made that you recommend for pain, for example?
well, pain's a really tricky one.
It's really tricky.
It's
And
really
obviously
tricky. It's
one solution, it's not a one fit all, one size fits all.
Yeah,
Uh
correct. Yeah. And I just want to say I'm not a licensed medical professional and I'm not a medical doctor, so we're not
we're
offering any advice. We
of
just
course,
can talk about the products that we're formulating
of
and,
course.
and the experience that individuals have from them. So none of this is prescriptive, but pain is really tricky because it can be very subjective and it's challenging. Neuropathic versus inflammatory pain, different pain pathways and cascades in the body. Um, so THC in combination with other cannabinoids, in our experience, tends to be pretty effective
Mhm.
for helping to manage pain. Now, obviously, you get into the thing of like, I don't want THC, or I have the dose response curve, and I don't want to be high, but I want the impact of it. So those are things individuals have to really consider. But that's why we created some of the acidic products we have. I think CBDA works really well for a lot of people, especially when combined with CBG
Hmm.
to help them manage pain or part of their regimen. Our A product that we have called Relief, which is THCA, CBDA, CBG, and CBC. We did a study with the University of Michigan. We had a cohort of, let's see, I think there were almost 400 individuals, and we looked at rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, and fibromyalgia, and the impact that that specific formulation had, on their pain modality, and the results, which we're still waiting for submission for peer review, though
Mhm.
they were pretty compelling
Oh,
to show, the quality of life improvement on mitigation of pain through that formulation. So those when we look at products trying to manage it, we still want to try and include a little bit of THC, but we do it in the acidic form, which does not have any of the psychoactivity that THC does.
that's fascinating. This really solves a huge problem for people who don't want to get high and just want relief. And I love your tagline. It's a non-existent high. Clever.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think that's part of the challenge too, right? And I know you're an educator and you're really helping people understand this is a very complex topic, and it's been living in the shadows. We're all trying to bring it out to the light, but it comes down to a point of like, how do we distill very complex
mm,
um, concepts and science, physiology, and distill it down so people can understand it. And then also so they're not scared to try it, because cannabis is a journey. You have to try different things because there's not a one size fits all. And it's creating an environment through platforms such as yourself, products like we make, where people can build confidence in that journey until they can find the things that are working for them if they want to include cannabis into or cannabinoids into their daily life. And so it's a really interesting time that we get to function in this overall industry. But at the same time, it's a challenge. And so the language of it, and coming back to you saying, a non-existent high, to try and help people understand, yeah, I'm not going to get paranoid or sleepy or just hungry, right? That's cannabis of the old days. You can still get there, but now it's like, how do we change the framework and the language to make it accessible and understandable for, the mass population?
absolutely. Sorry, my dog has a lot to say.
Oh, excellent.
In
That's
case you can
yes.
hear him, he's trying to weigh in on this. Um, this is, I mean, this is fantastic. And it's so funny that I still get comments from people saying there's no such thing as energizing cannabis. And I'm like, like, have you smoked urban poison? Like,
Hmm.
so there really is an entire spectrum, and it's great to know that people can customize it based on their needs. What if there was one message that you wanted to get out to people who were curious about your products, but maybe have been teetering on the edge? What would you say?
I would say it's, yeah, start start low and go slow, right?
Totally.
It's look for products that are not going to be psychoactive. So CBD, CBG, CBDA, and try them, right? And whatever the dose is, if you're, whatever the recommended dose is, if you're not comfortable with it, take half. You wait. Try it one day, see how it affects you. You can always titrate up. You can't titrate down, right? You can't take less once you've taken more than maybe you wanted. And it's don't be nervous about it. Don't be scared. It's the worst thing that's going to happen if someone has an adverse event of having too much, especially even a little some THC is, yeah, you might get sleepy, you might get tired, maybe you get a little anxious, but guess what? It's going to wear off. And inherently, cannabinoids are safe. So as long as the manufacturer of the product is doing things with best industry practices and regulation, cannabinoids are inherently very safe.
Which is exactly why people should just go with level It's safe, it's tested. We know that you guys have integrity. Bear. Sorry.
That's fine.
Okay, he's excited to get home too. So if you guys are curious about Level, you can you can use the promo code Savvy20, save 20% off your first order. Give it a try, see if it works. Um, Chris, it was a pleasure and honor to speak with you and kind of to nerd out with you. Um, the the fact that your product is consistent is what sold me. You know, I go to the dispensary, I want something energizing. One week it's energizing, one week it's not. I can always take a ProTab and feel good. I can take it, I can get on the treadmill, it's going to help me move. It's fabulous. So thank you for, really filling a need that the industry had. And you're available in more states now than just California, right?
Yeah, correct. We're in 6 states: California, Nevada, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, medical only there, and Ohio.
I love it. I love it. Well, in case you want to see how this actually looks, it's a teeny tiny little tab, right? Like I don't even know if you can see it. It's
They
super,
they
yeah.
look like baby aspirin, if you will. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and
very small and discreet. They're portable.
it
They
comes
don't
in a
smell.
really cute box. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it you can't ask for more.
Yep.
Um,
And then so yeah, the product you're showing there, those are our regulated
this
products.
is the THC one. Sorry.
Right. So those are our high THC, and then levelexperience.shop is our hemp website, and then they come in units. They come in a 30 count bottle of non-psychoactive cannabinoids. There's a few isolated cannabinoids, and then we have three. We have Relief, which a lot of people use for pain management. Also, some people use it as a daily vitamin. We have Relax, which is a high CBD, and then we also have a sleep formulation, a high CBN. So those are all available on levelexperience.shop.
Will there be a THCV option in the future?
Yes,
Okay,
there will be. We have a very robust product pipeline that, as we keep pushing this out, it will eventually we'll get it onto the website and available for everyone nationwide.
I love it. Well, keep us posted.
We
And
will do that.
I can't wait to continue this conversation with you. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're
you're very welcome.
fabulous.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Oh my God, you're so cool. Chemistry is amazing. You really explained everything in such a way that was so easy to understand.
Okay,
Um,
good.
so thank you for that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and very welcome. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to meet and join your podcast here for a few minutes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll put out a blog post that's, SEO optimized. I'll send that to you guys. I'll put it on YouTube, the video.
Okay.
And then I'll just be in touch with Bree, and then maybe I can have you on to talk about more products as they come out. This THCV as an appetite suppressant is a very popular topic. So,
Okay.
maybe even just an episode on that alone.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
the fact that yeah, if I love THCV. I think it's an amazing cannabinoid. I've got a great story about when we first had to grow it, right? Because you couldn't find it anywhere. And in
right.
2016, we had to we found genetics for it. We ended up growing it in Northern California. There was a whole thing so we could bring it to market, which is a great story in its own right. But to your point, when we developed Boost, and we don't market it this way because it's not who we are as a company, but uh, Boost is if weed and Adderall had a kid.
I
That's
know,
that's
right?
what Boost is.
There's
So,
so many of us that want that.
yeah,
That's all we dreamed of.
right.
Because it brings out the best in who we are.
Yeah.
We can show up, we can be present, we can, it's not like a sensory overload. You're still focused.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the ratios of the cannabinoids actually are very important, especially with THCV. THCV is really interesting depending on if it's low dose, high dose, what other cannabinoids you have it with. So it's a fascinating cannabinoid for sure.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll continue this conversation.
Yes.